Thanks, Shelley, and thank you very much for having me and for organising this event. I want to focus tonight on the profiteering that people have mentioned and spoken about, and try and give you some sort of a sense of exactly who is profiting from the war in the Ukraine and how. The trade in weapons is a business that counts its profits in billions and its losses in human lives. Within hours of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, weapons makers around the world, particularly in the United States, in the United Kingdom, in Germany, in France, saw significant increases in their share price, 26% on average, within hours of the invasion. For some, as the war has continued, as people have suffered in various parts of the Ukraine, they've seen their share prices increase by well over 40%. In addition to which, we are witnessing some of the most extraordinary increases in defense spending that we've seen in recent times. And to remind you what those recent times are, in 2021, for the first time in human history, over $2 trillion was spent on what our governments define as defense and national security. This was before the conflict in Ukraine. Since the conflict has started, political leaders around the world have committed themselves to even further increases. We're expecting a defense budget of well over $800 billion in the United States under Joe Biden in 2023. And that excludes the additional monies voted for specific conflicts. In Germany, a social democratic, liberal, and green coalition has promised to raise defense spending by 100 billion euros. When I heard the statement, I thought the new, relatively inexperienced Chancellor had maybe got his M's and his B's mixed up. And I contacted the State Secretary with whom I'm supposed to be talking about new arms export legislation for Germany to check. He confirmed it was B for billion. Who benefits from these extortionate increases? What Lawrence Wilkerson, former Chief of Staff to General Colin Powell, described as the global national security elite, of which he was part. Senior politicians, particularly their political parties, military and intelligence leaders who go on to lucrative careers after leaving the military and intelligence services, usually with the very companies to whom they've awarded billion-pound and billion-dollar contracts, corporate executives of the defense companies, and of course the associated intermediaries who we don't think about. The arms dealers, who we see in Hollywood form in films like Lords of War, but as importantly, the world's biggest banks, law firms, and auditing firms who occupy the glass towers in the City of London and who make billions of pounds in profit every year from the facilitation of arms deals and war. And not to lose the reference that Andrew made to my own constituency MP, Keir Starmer, and quite what sins I've committed in former lives to deserve an MP like this, I do not know. At the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis in this country that has claimed hundreds of thousands of lives, at a point when this excuse of a government could not provide basic equipment like masks and gloves to our frontline health workers, our joke of a Prime Minister announced an increase in defence spending of the current financial year of £17 billion. My esteemed constituency MP suggested that was far too low an increase. These are the politics of which Andrew speaks. These are the politics that confront us. And let us never forget that for every pound that is spent on defence and national security, which, by the way, in terms of the way it is spent, doesn't make us any safer, but every single pound spent on making us less safe is a pound that is not going into our health service, is a pound that is not going into benefits, that is not going into education. I experienced this at first hand. I experienced this at first hand in South Africa when I was an ANC MP. When BAE Systems, with the help of then Prime Minister Tony Blair, and 115 billion pounds of bribes, corrupted South Africa's nascent democracy and ensured that we spent $10 billion on weapons that we have barely used because we've never needed them, depriving 6 million people living with HIV and AIDS of life-saving drugs. This is the cost of defence spending. And let us not forget that in case anybody believes that Boris Johnson is actually on the side of the Ukrainians, that this is the same leader of a political party that has taken millions of pounds in donations from Russian oligarchs. A quick lesson for those who have been sanctioned. Had you given more to the Conservative Party, you would also be in the House of Lords and immune from sanctioning. Because those who have been sanctioned are those who haven't given enough to the party. But this same Prime Minister of a country that has armed both sides in this conflict, from 2008 to 2017, Britain sold Russia over 103 million pounds of weapons. And now we have tens of millions of pounds of weapons being sold, and in some cases given, to the Ukrainians. And finally, let me just say that we should never forget that as we see the appalling pictures on our television screens of awful attacks on civilians in Ukraine, let us not forget that for 7.5 years, our weapons and our diplomatic cover for Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have resulted in 7.5 years of similar and worse atrocities being committed against civilians in Yemen, with 377 where 377,000 people have died. And also in Palestine, where again, our weapons and our diplomatic cover ensure the continuation not only of an apartheid state in Israel itself, but of a brutal and illegal occupation that our government supports. I am not an office bearer of Stop the War, And therefore I think it is appropriate for me as an independent researcher and analyst and activist to say that while my constituency MP thinks that criticism of NATO, support for Stop the War, is an offence sufficient to have the whip removed, we all owe a debt of thanks to Stop the War, to its leadership, to its members, to its activists. Let us heed the call from Stop the War, from CND, and from so many others. Let us take to the streets again and again and again as we say to our government, to our arms profiteers, we demand peace now. Thank you.